Hello everyone, I'm Ying Zhang. Today, I will give a critical comparison of different global perspectives to enterprise, focusing on enterprise education. Here is the structure of this study. Part 1 is the definition. Part 2, the effect of enterprise education. In this part, I will compare the situation in China, USA, and UK. Part 3, the future of enterprise education, mainly based on the question that should enterprise education be a compulsory course or not? And finally, a brief conclusion. Before the analyze, we should clarify the definition of enterprise education and entrepreneurship education, because Gibb and Jones and Airedale point out that the term enterprise education and entrepreneurship education are used interchangeably by policymakers and in much academic discourse. Firstly, at the early stage, enterprise education is usually the same meaning with entrepreneurship education. Hitty and Gorman interpret enterprise education as how to start your own business skills and SME management skills. And also, Card thinks that enterprise education is for the purpose of educating students to be more enterprising. These definitions narrow the meanings of enterprise only about start a new business. As for the Quality Assurance Agency for Higher Education, they define enterprise education and entrepreneurship education separately. Enterprise education is about to enhance the capability to generate ideas. However, the entrepreneurship education are about to encourage and teach the student to develop a new venture. Furthermore, the United Nations Education Scientific Culture Organization defined entrepreneurship education the same meaning with the former ones, but the enterprise education a broader meaning. It is defined as a way to enhance the skills with the talent and ready for all opportunities, both new venture or find a better job. These analyses will adopt a broader definition, that is, enterprise education includes both the promotion of capability and the psychological encouragement to create a new company. The choice of a broader definition is because the ultimate meaning of enterprise education or entrepreneurship education is to improve the entrepreneurial spirit of the masses and increase the number of entrepreneurs, then to have a positive impact on society. However, this raises another question. Does enterprise education really improve the entrepreneurial spirit of students? First of all, the most direct purpose of enterprise education is to increase the number of entrepreneurs. The most direct measure of the number of entrepreneurs is to measure the number of small and medium-sized enterprises. Here, these analyses use the data of Global Entrepreneurship Monitor, so I can roughly compare entrepreneurial education and the emerging enterprises. The upper figures are of TEA rate in 18 to 24 age group and the enterprise education in school age. The lower figures are of TEA rate in 25 to 34 age group and the enterprise education in post-school age. Here, the TEA rate means the percentage of the adult population who are in process of starting a business or owner management of a new business which is less than 42 months old. And the school age is all about the primary school and the secondary school. The post-school age is about the higher education. From the table, we can see that the education of school age and post-school age in China is basically the same trend as the TEA rate in the corresponding age group. Although the growth in the United States is not obvious, it can be seen that the trend is also the same. But in the UK, it is indeed a completely different situation. The trend in both school age and post-school age are the opposite. So it can be seen that the impact of entrepreneurship education in different countries is different. And it is very hard to say if enterprise education is really effective. However, these data also have some flaws. The first point is that the data is insufficient. The statistic on total early enterprise of different ages started in 2015, so the range of the year is too small. The second point is that the rating on education is obtained from more than 36 experts in different countries. The higher the score, the better the development of enterprise education. But the rate is very subjective. The third is about influencing factors. The factors affecting the TE rate are not only the enterprise education. Personal experience, economic environment, national policies, etc., are also the very important factors affecting the rate of the new ventures. Furthermore, scholars have done some researches to find the relationship between enterprise education and entrepreneurship spirit. George, Dietman, Richard found that entrepreneurship education will improve students' confidence, determination, and qualification for their own entrepreneurship through a comparative experiment before and after the enterprise education of 357 students. Peterway and Cope also found that enterprise education has an impact on student propensity and intentionality. Furthermore, Suckbase proved the positive relationship between enterprise education and both entrepreneurial capacity and intention. Then, according to Peterman and Kennedy, after completing the enterprise program, participants report significantly higher perspective of both desirability and feasibility. Finally, the UK government also have the evaluation of enterprise education, which shows that more students think that enterprise education will encourage young persons to consider self-employment. Since the enterprise education has a good influence on students, should we include it into compulsory courses? Here is the part 3, the future of enterprise education. First, let's have an overview of the state goal of these 3 countries. In UK, enterprise education is part of the economic well-being strand of personal, social, health, and economic education. The Education Committee published a report recommending to put PHHE into compulsory courses in February 2015. And private members' bills have been tabled for all or part of the PSHE to be statutory. However, in February 2016, the government committed that it would not be making PSHE statutory. In USA, according to the State of Entrepreneurship Education in America, in 2015, 42 states now have K-12 standard guidance and proficiency in entrepreneurial education, up from 19 in 2009. Additionally, the number of states requiring entrepreneurship education courses offered in high school has raised from 5 to 80 over the same period. In China, Ministry of Education issued a basic requirement of teaching of entrepreneurship education in ordinary undergraduate school, requiring all universities across the country to open compulsory foundations of entrepreneurship. But those only focus on the higher education. There are only a few enterprise education programs related to primary and secondary schools, and mainly are classified into the extracurricular activities, not part of the curriculum. Here are the main views of the question: should we take enterprise education into compulsory courses? From the perspective of positive effect, S. Miller argued that entrepreneurship is not only about skills, but also a kind of character, which made entrepreneurship a lifelong learning process. So it's very necessary for us to put it into the compulsory courses for everyone to learn about enterprise education. And also, Skip Rodmood proved that individual success and entrepreneurship and early entrepreneurial ability are significantly related to entrepreneurial interest. According to Demme and Anger, the education can have a very significant influence on personality, so that enterprise education can be very crucial to establish the entrepreneurship spirit. However, it has some negative voices. Some others argue that PSHE, containing enterprise education, should be the responsibility of parents rather than the responsibility of the school or the society. Also, some parents believe that enterprise education may be easy to trigger students' utilitarianism and even become more money-oriented. To conclude, first, we have clarified the definition of enterprise education. There are many definitions of enterprise education. Here we have chosen a broader one because the broader definition is more realistic. Then we came up with the question of whether enterprise education is really effective and found that the effects are different in different countries. But a lot of scholars have verified through experiments that enterprise education had positive effects for students' intentions to set their own business. Then it leads to the next question about the future development of enterprise education. We analyze it based on the question whether enterprise education should be included as a compulsory courses in the national education system. The development level of theory and practice in each country are totally different, but most scholars agree to take enterprise education as a compulsory course because they believe the characteristic of entrepreneur can be nurtured at a very young age. But there are some people who disagree. They are afraid of the enterprise education will have a negative effect of the students, such like being more money-oriented. In reality, there are still many problems to be solved in the enterprise education. For example, the social resources consumption brought by the enterprise education is very high. For example, the training of teachers or the invitation of entrepreneurs to give lectures. The second question is that the curriculum of enterprise education have different influence on different students. Some people may get benefit from it, but some other people may have a negative influence. So in this field of enterprise education, it really needs further researches. Thanks for your listening. Bye.